Okay, here's the career numbers of Auston Matthews so far. As promised, I did a video on Patrick Laine yesterday, the number 2 draft pick from 2016. Here is the number 1 draft pick from 2016. Now, if you notice, in red, he plays a full season in Switzerland, in the professional top league there, which is one of the top professional leagues in Europe. So he's playing against men, because he's a year older than Patrick Laine as well. So he's playing a full year um, in Europe. Now, he could have gone into juniors or stayed in the minor leagues over in the US and Canada, could have gone to college, NCAA, but he decided to take the jump and go overseas, which was a big, big step for a young player from North America. Take that blind leap of faith. And it sort of pays off in the regular season. He plays only 36 games because the season's shorter over here in Europe than in North America. But in 36 games, he's got 24 goals, 22 assists, and 46 points, and only 6 penalty minutes. So that extra year of development, and now he's playing against seasoned veterans, seasoned professionals. Some have played NHL hockey before. He's playing against big, physical, skillful players. He does all right. He's still a teenager at this point, playing in a top, I think, the 4th best league in the world, which is the Swiss league for the ZSC Lions. Then he gets drafted by the Maple Leafs, and he could have stayed in Europe for another year and developed. But he's the first overall draft pick, and they're normally expected to play. So he plays 82 games in 2016, 2017, gets 40 goals. So he's not a bad goal scorer. 29 assists, 69 points, but he's a centre, so you would expect the assists totals to be a little bit higher. And that's possibly a weakness in his game, is he needs to possibly bring more players into play. But his goal scoring is without doubt. He's a left-handed shot. So the opposite of Laine is a right-handed shot. There's another comparison to have. He gets 69 points overall in his rookie season in the NHL and 14 penalty minutes. Partly because he's probably playing more games. He's a big physical player. He's still growing into his body. He's big and physical. His second year, however, is decimated by injury. He's a lot of injuries, a lot of injury layoffs. He only plays 62 games. He scores 6 less goals, considering he's played 20 less games. So his actually goals per game average has actually gone up. Assists are exactly the same. He probably would have actually brought in more assists into the game. So he's now bringing more players into play in the games he plays. He gets 63 points in 20 less, but in only 20 less games, he only gets 6 less points. That's not bad going. At the rate he was scoring, he would have possibly been in the running for the Rocket Richard. He definitely would have got more assists, more points. He got 12 penalty minutes as well. So he didn't do too bad. With the amount of injuries he had last season as well, and there was a supposed fallout with Mike Babcock. He hasn't done too bad. The fact that Patrick Laine has played more games in the playoffs and has played more career games because he's been injured less. It'll be the third year will be where you really get to see if there is a comparison. They play different roles. Laine is a winger, Matthews is a centre. They have different roles for their teams. And Matthews has some good defensive qualities as well. Probably why he's not getting as many goals and assists as he could do. He's a very two-way player. He's a bit more two-way than Patrick Laine. But now we look at his postseason numbers. In Switzerland, he had 4 playoff games and only got 3 assists. So it didn't happen for him in the Swiss playoff structure. When it came to Toronto's first time back in the playoffs for a while, he played 6 games because they lost in 6 in the first round. He got 4 goals, mind. 4 goals. So he was producing in front of net, 1 assist, 5 points, no penalty minutes. So in his first attempt at the playoffs, he didn't do too bad. It was almost a point a game. He didn't do too bad. The second time round, open for debate. 7 games, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points. Laine has played 17 games in the NHL playoffs and has got better numbers. So the debate is there that Laine has played better in the playoffs, and he's won a playoff appearance, which is up to the conference final, than Matthews has in several playoff appearances. But you have to look at the team around them. Because Matthews decided to take that extra season and play professional hockey in Europe for a year, which is a big thing for a young man who's only a teenager. He was very, very young. He'd never been outside the US before for long periods of time, except with the youth setups of the international side. He's never actually gone a whole year. He spends 9 months in Switzerland. He could have been drafted a year earlier. He decided to forego being put into the draft, play an extra year. and I think that helped him in his first year at Toronto and possibly his second season as well. Injuries, though, are having an effect on him. That's going to be a concern. But if you look at the numbers, he has got points in the playoffs. But you've got to look at the rest of the team around him. It's not just the Auston Matthews show. He may be possibly one of their better players, but you've got to look at the Maple Leafs team around him and go, okay, why have they fallen flat in the playoffs? It's not just solely on Auston Matthews. It's a team effort. You cannot rely on one player to win. Maybe the odd game where you have one player who has an inspired game or an inspired spell in the game, but to win a Stanley Cup or to win an Olympic gold, you have to have a team effort and a team of players who are a sum of all their parts. So obviously it's not just him in the playoffs; it's the whole team. But if you are comparing him in playoff performances, Patrick Laine is better. If you comparing him for how he's done, if you look at if he played a full season, I think he would have had probably a few more points and goals than Patrick Laine. But now we're coming to the third year, and both Toronto and Winnipeg, the teams that they play for, are looking good to go far in the playoffs. Winnipeg are an outside shot for the Stanley Cup. Toronto have decided to take longer to build, and they're getting a lot of young pieces at the same time. But we shall see. Hopefully, if they both stay fit and they both play 82 games in the regular season, we can have a better comparison between the two players. Because Patrick Laine was injured in the first season, he missed 9 games, and Matthews missed 20 games last season because of injury. So if they both have a fully fit season, then we can compare how well they have developed and come on, and how we can compare. Because they do play different roles, but at the same time they are in the same draft class and they are both forwards. And Matthews could also play a bit of wing because he's a left-handed shot. You could put him on the left wing. But there we go. There's the numbers, career numbers of Auston Matthews so far. Thank you very much for watching. Please place your comments below. Place your thoughts below. If you want me to do any other young NHL players, I'm more than happy to look at any NHL player and look at his career numbers or career totals and have a discussion about how good they are. Could they get better? Could they bounce back? And I'm more than happy to do so. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll have some more videos for you soon.